Broadcasters Association is that you'll hear those stories and the passion. So thank you for that, Dr. Mayor. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dan Brennan from FM Talk, Mobile Mornings, to induct our next Hall of Fame member.
Hey everybody, seeing so many friendly faces and people I've known for a lot of years, a lot of different jobs, and a lot of different, mostly ups, some downs, but that's life. But great to see you all tonight. Thank you, Uncle Henry, for that. And as you told your story, how you got into the radio business, in years from now, you may go into the hall of nepotism as well. I want to talk about a gentleman that I met 1995. I was in Columbus, Georgia, and everything was fine, but it was kind of a smaller market, and I was looking for a challenge, and 95 KHJ called me, so I was like, well, I'll look it over, see what's up. And it was great. It was a great move. We moved down here. I love Mobile. So glad I came here. Love the people of Mobile, love all of you, and just, this is a great evening for me because, like Uncle Henry, you know, when you get up at 3 a.m., you don't get out much. So I'm out tonight. So Dr. Bill Williams was part of our show, and it was really cool because it was a bigger show than I'd done before. It was like it had a cast of people on it. It was like, this was new for me. 95 KHJ was a big deal. And it was an important show. And so I took the job, and I had this meteorologist. I thought, well, I guess that's going to work out okay. So it was June of 95. It worked out really well because by August of 95, a storm named Aaron, this is my first hurricane. Aaron comes rumbling up the Atlantic, actually, and across Florida, gets into the Gulf of Mexico, lands on Pensacola. It's a moderate hurricane, but it shook me up because obviously that was my first hurricane. But what I noticed was Dr. Bill, his forecast, the way he assured people, the way he took care of everybody, he was more than just a meteorologist for sure. So I said, well, I get it. This guy's going to help my ratings because people are going to turn to him for assuredness in storm warnings. It wasn't a month, maybe a month and a half later, Opal comes through and up the Gulf of Mexico. And this was different. It was rough. So now I'm seeing Dr. Bill do what he does best with two hurricanes. One, really, Opal destroyed hundreds of homes, crops in Alabama and Florida. It was a terrible story. So I right away got an idea of, wow, this is what this guy does. This is what he does for this community. And I later learned about how that all started, and I will get to that. But it was just that what I learned was, it wasn't just so much what he said. What he said was important, but it's how he said it. How he just had was a voice of assuredness and compassion. And so, 25 years later, I get a job at FM Talk 106.5, and I'm reunited with, anyone want to guess? Uncle Henry. No, Dr. Bill, of course. And it was just so good to have him, and I remember the first day, he broadcast on the phone from another location, I'll just say that. And I said, well, welcome back, Dr. Bill. I just want to say, hey, this is Dan. Remember me? He said, I thought we got rid of you. No, I'm back. But it was so good to hear him again, and his voice, and the way that he presents the weather, and the way that because the weather in Mobile, as the speaker said earlier, means a lot. So let me tell you about what Dr. Bill has done. I'll start with the University of South Alabama, and I'll circle back to radio, and then we'll bring Dr. Bill up. He's been associated with the University of South Alabama since 1967. He has taught classes from geography, meteorology, climatology, coastal climatology down at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab. He's done so much, he started his own, the USA Coastal Weather Service Research Center is still humming today. He started it, founded it in 1988. He's done enough in several careers to go in several halls of fame. So I thank the Alabama broadcasters for recognizing him today. Now, as far as radio, he got involved in radio in the year 1979 in January. Jerry, you'll know this little bit trivia. So why was 1979 important to be in radio? January 1979, he was on the radio on KSJ. It was the summer, I guess, or late August. Hurricane Frederick hits the Gulf Coast, hits Mobile like nothing ever has since. Dr. Bill Williams, at that moment, during those moments, just by being himself and just by being a professional, brought on a whole legion of fans who learned to trust him every day because of what he did during Hurricane Frederick. Amazing. Because it's only 45 years later, and he's still doing the weather on FM Talk 106.5. So, again, what I would say about Dr. Bill is he's an icon in Mobile, Baldwin County, educationally, innovationally, and certainly broadcast-wise. Thank you to the Alabama Broadcasters Association for this honor for Dr. Bill, and I'm very glad to introduce Dr. Bill Williams.
In closing, what more can I say? It covered my entire life. But I've been very, very fortunate to have 2 jobs, and the whole thing is like a hobby for me, particularly in the academic area. But radio, I've been doing this for 47 years. And at the University of South Alabama for 59 years. And I'm still going to continue. I enjoy what I am doing. And as long as my health holds up. My biggest problem right now is hearing. But I'm about to have one of those cochlear implants, and in the next month or so I'm looking forward to that. It takes a while, of course, for that to sort of kick in, but we're going to do it. Meteorology is something that I was interested in as a kid, and I followed right through with it. I started the meteorology academic program at USA. We now have the only undergraduate program in Alabama, meteorology degree. And then I started the Coastal Weather Research Center. And what we do there is to provide forecasts and warnings to business and industry. And right now here in Mobile, we're serving businesses from Texas to South Florida and northward to the Carolinas. And one of our biggest users are electric cooperatives. But we have users such as Airbus and CSX Railroads, and so a number of big companies, Alabama Power, that use our service. We don't deal with the public, we deal with business and industry, so we're different than the National Weather Service, which is providing that information, to the public. So it has been really an exciting career. In the radio, I had no intention of going into broadcasting. I was a kid that was scared to death to get up in front of class and do a book report. I was terrified. I never thought I would be a teacher, a professor, and then go on the radio. And never thought that would happen, but like Bill Sherrard was with KSJ, and he saw an almanac that I did at an advertising agency here in Mobile. So he got in touch with me and asked me, would you like to be the first real meteorologist on the radio in Mobile? I said, well, that sounds kind of neat. So he said, let's get together, and he gave me a date to have lunch and talk about it. So I was there at the restaurant. Bill Sherrard never showed up. What a great start. And we finally got things ironed out, and we were ready to start the first broadcast on January 29th, 1979. January 29th, which is my birthday. That's where it happened. And so that was my first broadcast. So it was being done from my home. I called in at 6:30. No one answered. Brian, no one answered. It was about maybe an hour and a half later, I get a call and said, Dr. Bill, apparently what happened is someone crashed into a power pole at Airport Boulevard and knocked the power out of the station. So I ended up driving over to at least get on the radio that morning, not at the time that was scheduled, but at least to show up. So what a great start. But things really improved though later in 1979. Not for Mobile, but for me. Hurricane Frederick. And the National Weather Service asked me if I would go out to the Civil Defense Emergency Management, as it's called today, and provide my scientific expertise to the folks there on the hurricane. All right? I thought that would be okay. But when I went out there, the place was jammed. And a lot of the participants there at the time were people from Newsweek, Time Magazine, New York Times, and other big newspapers all showed up to cover the hurricane from that office. So here I was, ready to brief all these people, and all we had was a teletype. No radar, nothing like that, just a teletype. And so about every 30 minutes, they asked me to go up in front of the stage and talk with everybody about what I knew about the storm. Talk about a rough situation, but we went through with it. And it was quite an experience. And that was Mobile's worst hurricane by far, because we were in the eye wall of that storm, which is the worst part of it. And so that's how I got started, and worked with KSJ, and then with 106.5. And what I try to do in my job as a meteorologist is to keep height out of it. The fact that a hurricane may be a very strong one 2,000 miles away, that's not affecting us, and it may never affect us. a lot of people are terrified of hurricanes, particularly elderly. And I think it's a disservice to build up storms that are not going to affect our area. And so I have that in mind for all kinds of storms. So I bring education into it. And what I try to do is tell everybody about these storm systems. A little more detail. If you learn a little bit about these storms, it really cuts down on quite a bit of the anxiety. And so I try to bring that into my reports. So I'm really pleased with what we're doing. One thing you always like to do is get some feedback. And in my job, I don't get a lot of feedback. But once in a while, somebody tells me something that makes it all worthwhile. I had a young man say, "My grandmother just loves your reports." And one morning, when there was absolute chaos in the kitchen with everybody getting ready for school, it was wild. Grandma was sat over there in the rocking chair, never said anything. And then finally she got up. She took her cane in the middle of this seemingly a riot, and she took the cane and she hit the table. And she said, "Quiet, everyone, Dr. Bill's coming on." That made me feel, if I can cause